Hi guys, it's Beer O'Clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. I'm starting my first blog. It's the end of 2015. I thought I'd do a little bit of a practice run with you guys. It's my first blog, end of 2015, and then we're going to roll out this blog into 2016, probably once a month. If there's really interesting news, I might do it twice a month. But I just feel that there's so much news going on in the beer world at the moment that I'm thinking of expanding my channel to not just beer reviews, but talk about the news as well. The news in beer, all of the brewery buyouts that are happening around the world by big corporations gobbling up all of the little breweries. So that's something I'm going to cover today. But first off, I want to give you guys a little bit of a review of the year of how we've done on the channel. So I'm going to start off by saying a massive thank you to all of the people who have followed us throughout the year, all of the new followers, all of the comments, all of the likes, all of everything really, all of your support for 2015. It's been an amazing year. I'm going to show you some of the beers that we've collaborated with in case you missed a couple over 2015. But I'm going to start off with my other social media sites. I want you to kind of, if you want to, of course, I'm gonna kind of give you the links in the description box of all of the different social media sites that we are running. And if you've got these sites, if you're on, say, Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Tumblr, Pinterest, if you're on any of these sites, then I'll put a link below. So check out the link below to our sites, and if you want to give us a follow, thank you very much. So we're going to start off with Instagram. Instagram has been an amazing growth for us in 2015. It's been fantastic. I think we've picked up about 9,000 followers on Instagram. We're up to 15,300 followers at the end of the year. So I like to set myself little targets. I think you have to in life to kind of push yourself on. So Instagram, I set a target at the start of the year of 15,000 followers, and I've managed to pass it by 300, so I'm really chuffed with that. So yeah, check out the link in the description box for Instagram if you want to give us a follow. Next up, Facebook. Facebook is a bit of a kind of a funny one. My page is stuck at around 4,000. It's because they like you to pay for followers, Facebook, so they've stopped. It was growing really well, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, then it just stopped as soon as they introduced paying for likes, paying for people to view your Facebook page. I think it's wrong. It's not how I would do business, but hey ho, if you want to follow our page, Real Ale Craft Beer, check us out in the description box. Moving on then to Twitter. Yeah, Twitter's a bit of a funny one as well. Did really well, grew very quickly, and then it kind of cut off at 8,000 followers. We're on Twitter at Real Ale today. Reddit's a really interesting one for me because it's a real area of growth in terms of people finding your videos. Reddit is a fantastic tool for people to find your videos on YouTube. You put a link in our beer or somewhere like that, and if it goes quite high, then brilliant, you do well. So I've got my own subreddit on Reddit if you want to follow us. Again, the link is below. Check it out if you've got a Reddit account. Moving on to Tumblr, we got about 220. Again, link in the description box. And Pinterest, we got about 1,000 followers on Pinterest. So please check out the links below for all of these sites if you want to. I'm going to move on. Let's move on. That's the bit out of the way, which I hope you found interested, but if you don't, we'll move on. Right, let's talk about the year in terms of collaborations. It started off with going to Poland in April. We brewed a beer called Call Me Simon 2015. Amazing, really, that we brewed one in 2014 that done really well. Then we brewed an Imperial Bitter that was 8% ABV, and it seemed to go quite well in Poland, so check that beer out if you're around that area. Then we come back and we brewed a beer with Gloucester Brewery. It was a wit PA, a wit beer that was infused with lots of hops. Awesome stuff. Then we moved on to Hillside Brewery. Now these are the bottles. I've actually got some of my bottles that I've collaborated with. We brewed Forest Falcon, which is a beer it was infused with new hops, a new breed of hop from Charles Fareham. It's an experimental hop that we use in the beer. And that seemed to go down pretty well. That's a 4.6% ABV beer. Where did we go from then? Forest Falcon. We went over to Cwmbran in South Wales and we brewed this. This is with Mad Dog Brewing Company and it's the Bohemian Hipster. You might have seen me review all of these different beers. And then, of course, we went travelling around Europe. In August, we went to Belgium, drank loads of amazing Belgian beer, visited loads of different Belgian breweries. It was a fantastic time. I've never drunk so much great beer in one condensed few days. It was like 4 days of drinking at least 30 beers a day and 30 top quality beers of that. It was amazing. And I got to catch up with fellow bloggers. It was a bloggers event, so I met people I hadn't seen for a while, and it was good to meet people again. We then went over to Poland again. I brewed a beer with Dr. Brew, Annabelle IPA. This is it. It's named after my daughter, and it's a Belgian IPA at 8% ABV and 100 IBUs. Really good beer, really proud of that one. Of course, we reviewed it. And then, of course, just last month, we went over to, was it last month or was it the beginning of this month? It was the end of November. We went over to Norway and we brewed a fantastic beer with Elijah Ford and Microbrewery, and it's a barrel-aged imperial stout that's going to be ready in February 2016. So they're the beers I've reviewed and brewed and spoke about and met with different brewers, and it was amazing 2015. Next is my little discussion on what do I think, and this is your chance to comment on this. The brewery buyouts of the last few years, but they've really, really ramped up over the last year. So the first, I think for me anyway, the first biggest brewery to be bought out over the last few years was Goose Island Brewing Company. I think they're based in New York, I think, but they were bought out by a big company. I think it was AB InBev. If I'm wrong, if it's SAB Miller, shoot me. So, have they changed over the last few years? Well, the Goose Island, the bourbon barrel aged stout, the imperial stout, is still a fantastic beer in my mind. That hasn't changed at all. But the original plant, the original brewery, only produces the Goose Island bourbon barrel aged imperial stout. The rest of the beers are now brewed in other breweries, the larger breweries at this big brewery. It's either AB InBev or SAB Miller own this company now, and they brew it out in their big factories. Now, I tried Goose Island IPA. First of all, I was in Salisbury in October. I tried a pint of Punk IPA in a Green King pub, and it was really good. And then I tried on draft a pint of Goose Island IPA, and whether the beer it was coming towards the end of the line or it'd been in a while, I don't know, but this beer didn't taste anything like how I remembered this beer. So I hope it was just a beer. I hope it was an old beer, and I hope that they still produce the IPA as they produced it years ago. But I don't know. I have my doubts. Then this year was just crazy. This year, it was either the back end of last year or the beginning of this year. Elijah Brewing Company got bought out in America, followed by 10 Barrel Brewing. Then it was probably Meantime Brewing Company in the UK got bought out by SAB Miller. Then, of course, £1 billion, £1 billion Ballast Point Brewing Company got bought out by the owners of Corona at the beginning of November. And then to top it all off, just 2 days ago, it was announced that Camden Town Brewery in the UK have been bought out by AB InBev. What do I think? I think craft is craft. Of course, these big companies with the beer market in America now hitting 10%, craft beer volume is 10% of the overall beer sales in America. Overall sales. So of course they want a piece of that pie. It's a massively growing market. But I just feel if these breweries just stuck together and stayed independent and grew together, then it would have been such an interesting battle between the massive, huge breweries and the growing, booming small craft breweries. We're never going to see that now. We are never going to see that fight. That fight that I thought we were going to see. That battle between really good beer and bland, mundane beer is not going to happen now. Sure, you've got big companies like Brewdog, Stone Brewing Company, that have opened breweries. One in Germany, Stone, and one in America, Brewdog, from the original countries of Scotland and America. They're expanding, they're still independent. So we'll see a battle there between good beer and mass-produced lager. But I wanted to see Ballast Point. I wanted to see Elijah, and I wanted to see 10 Barrel Brewing. I wanted to see them independent and fight and battle with these big companies. Because don't make no mistake, these companies were frightened. They were scared. And they just didn't know where to turn. Craft beer was everywhere. And it was kind of taking lumps and chunks out of their market. And it's not going to happen. Of course, there's breweries opening all the time in America. There's breweries opening all the time in the UK and around the world. And combined, I think craft beer will grow. They won't be able to buy all of them. Let's make one thing clear. They will not be able to buy all of the breweries in the world, these big companies. So there will still be a fight. But it'll be a fight now between good beer, craft beer, and then craft-y type of big brewery companies now. Ballast Point, can you call them a craft brewery now? They're owned by one of these huge companies. I don't know. Please comment. I'd be interested for you to all get involved in this. Hopefully we'll have a great big discussion on it in the comments box. But oh yeah. So I'm not gonna stand here and F and blind and rage about this. But I wanted, my biggest thing was the fight. I thought there was going to be a huge fight, and it's not going to happen between craft and mass-produced lager. I thought there was going to be a massive step change in companies, in the craft was going to grow and the big companies were just going to basically evaporate away. But they're being very clever. They're picking their breweries now, and they're picking their fights quite well. So yeah, your thoughts on where the craft industry is going in 2016 and beyond. Thank you all. I hope you like my first blog. It's been quite good. I've quite enjoyed it. So a little bit of a year in review then at the beginning, talking about my different social platforms and how they're growing, and of course YouTube. I didn't talk about YouTube. YouTube, I picked up about 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we just passed 2 million views. So that's another thing that I should have dropped in earlier, but I forgot. Never mind. I'm new to blogging. Really, I'm not new to reviewing craft beer, but I'm new to kind of discussing topics and remembering everything up here. Yes. Thank you very much. Please comment. Please subscribe. I hope you all a wonderful 2016. Thanks for 2015, and cheers.